it means different things to different people.
Mm-hmm.
It's a word that lives, in our world. And so a branding consultant, someone like me, we have our own idea of what branding means. And it's also quite likely that you could put 10 of me up here in a row and we all might have a different, even people in branding have different meanings to the word. But in the 30 plus years that I've been working in branding with nonprofits, I've really kind of seen it fall into three general groups. When people say that they're looking for branding, one of the things that they might mean is that they want more people to know about them. And so in the marketing world, having more people to know about you is actually brand marketing. It's not branding or rebranding or brand strategy. It's the deployment of a brand out into the world to help bring back the right stuff. That's actually marketing. And so when you're thinking about, I need branding, or a lot of times people might say, I want brand awareness. Brand awareness kind of requires you already have a brand, you have, and pretty much everyone has a brand, whether you've cultivated it or not. But that's one of the things that people mean, that to somebody in my seat, if you're working with a branding firm, we might think, oh, well, that's actually not what we do. Like, that's marketing, not branding, which is so weird because, if this isn't your world, you think of them as all the same thing, kind of like, someone might say bookkeeping and accounting, which they're related, but not exactly the same thing.
Right.
And so that's one thing that they might mean. Another thing that somebody might mean when they say branding is what in our world we would call brand identity. It's the graphic design, or like the visual, we would call it the visual hooks, the things that you see related to a brand, your logo, your colors, the fonts that you choose, your graphic design style, the type of pictures that you choose, your website, all of your like the visual side, sometimes like the message, but mostly it's how do things look. We're going to talk about brand identity. What are the visual range of things that you're using? And so a lot of times when somebody says we've just rebranded, what they often mean is we got a new logo and did a new website.
Gotcha.
And then we're going to switch everything else out from there. Sure. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. Sometimes people will call that a brand refresh or something like that. The challenge and the thing that we often will see to people is that they do a visual, a brand identity, a graphic design project when they need a strategic project, because the third type of branding that people mean when they talk about branding goes much deeper than the logo and the website. Those are kind of like the third stage of a branding project. But if you change your logo, or even if you change your color or a font, what happens after that is you've got to change your website. You've got to change your business cards. You've got typically about 18 months and a lot of expenses in like revolving out, and we call it brand transition, like changing everything over. If it turns out that your logo was the problem, your logo was dated, it was old, it didn't represent who you were today, or it just had like a out of date look, and refreshing it can be life-changing. It can bring things up, it can capture attention, it's amazing. But if the problem was further back in the food chain, maybe your message is off, maybe you're not focused on the right audience, maybe you don't know, out of all those audiences that you're focusing on, are you putting your attention and your brand messaging into the right one? Maybe maybe your mission and vision are off, maybe your values aren't aligned with the audiences that you're most trying to attract. Maybe you don't have a positioning statement, meaning we haven't clarified, we've all seen those mission statements that have like 25 commas in them. Maybe you haven't figured out how to connect your mission to your marketing. Brand strategy is the bridge that connects your mission to your marketing. It's the simplification, the clarification of who are we and what are the things that we're best at, and who's out there that deeply, deeply wants what we have, and where's that sweet spot where those two things match up perfectly. That's your brand, your capital B brand, your brand strategy. And so typically some clients know that they need that strategic stuff. Some
Sure.
people don't need that. They really have that in good shape, and it's the visual stuff that's the problem. And some people have all of that in good shape, or maybe not so good shape, but their priority, the thing they need right now, is marketing. So what I usually try, and when we begin working with clients, that's the very first thing I have to do is pull on the threads to find out
What's the problem?
what do they mean by branding, and how does it align with those sort of three big buckets that we mean by branding.